Hey everyone, my name is Jax from Transparency Love. Okay, so he tells me that he likes me, and I just remember freaking out because at that point in my life I had a lot going on. He did ask me, like, would you want to go on a date? And I did say yes. So he takes me to Claim Jumper. We were sitting at the table because the host had sat us down, and she's like, can I get you anything to drink? I was like, yeah, I'll take a iced tea. And Drew's just like on his phone, and I'm like, is everything okay? And he's like, yeah, I'm just going to make a transfer from my savings to my checking. And I'm like, a transfer? I'll, I'm going to go to the bathroom. I'll be right back. Literally like trying to catch my breath. I'm like, oh my God, what is going on? Like, what am I doing here? Why are we here? And why didn't you make the transfer before the date? Like to all the people, to my girls, my guys, my theys, and my thems. Please do not ever say that if you are going on a date. Like, please don't. Come back from the bathroom and I'm like, we need to go. And he's there like, what? What do you mean? And I'm like, we gotta go. Like, he was like, no, it's okay. It's okay. Like, everything is fine. Girl, I got up so fast and I'm like, we are leaving. Let's go. And so we drove and we were just kind of laughing, like, oh my God, like, I can't believe that happened. And we did end up going on like a few other dates. We would hang out a lot, like after work. Like, I feel like from the moment that he told me that he liked me, we were pretty much hanging out every day. About a month and a half within our relationship, I started to feel symptoms of like nausea. So I get the test, and I remember being at my mom's house, and we had to wait like the whole 3 minutes or whatever. And then we are holding the test together, and it's positive. And I just remember being like, and he was like so happy. So we're pregnant. Like, what am I going to do? What are we going to do? Like, what's going to happen? But our first baby was born March 29th. And I would say she was probably like one of the biggest blessings that like has ever happened to us. We got in this like parent mode, like you go to work, I go to work. And it was really hard to like focus on our relationship, but it was okay because we were embracing our baby girl that was like the first on both sides, and even like obviously like our first like kid, like together and just in general. And so all the milestones, all of those years, we were just so focused on her that I didn't have time to pay attention to like our relationship. I want to say probably when she was like 5, starting elementary school, it got a lot easier. We started to go on dates more, and I would notice that like he would be happy, like he was happy, but it just always felt like there was something missing. Like he just would be sad. I feel like it started to get lonely in our relationship, and I would tell some of my coworkers that I was close to at the time, like, why do I feel so alone? Like when you're in a relationship, you're supposed to have each other's backs, and I feel like a lot of time had kind of passed by, and a lot of the problems like started to get resolved. We were getting closer to family, and at this point, like I'm getting ready to talk about divorce. And when I had been late on my period, like probably like 2 weeks, and I didn't understand why because I was on the IUD. Like, for those of you who don't know, it's a birth control. I went to the doctor, and it was funny because I remember going to the doctor thinking, like, man, maybe it's my birth control. Like, maybe I should switch it out. And the nurse was like, oh, yeah, we can definitely do that for you today within this visit. And I was like, okay, great. So I go to the bathroom because they wanted a urine sample just to make sure that I wasn't pregnant. And they were going to take out the IUD that I had and place in a new one. I go and I do the urine sample, and they basically took me to the other room where I was going to then see the doctor. And the doctor comes in and she's like, I can't do the birth control today. And I feel like I've always had that luck where like things just don't perfectly work out. And so I was like, oh, that's okay. Like, what is it? Is it that, you guys don't have any in stock, or like, I don't know. I was just kind of like, what happened? She's like, oh, no, no, no. Like, we can do it. And I was like, what? Like, this is not making sense. She's like, honey, you're pregnant. And I was like, oh my God. Like, I literally started crying. I was like, you're lying. I'm not pregnant. Like, what is going on here? And I just remember like freaking out at the office. Like, I was crying so hysterically. The doctor was like, do you need a minute? I'm like, yeah, can you please get out? Like, please get out. Like, girl, we were going to get a divorce. Like, I was ready to like start my life. I was okay with having just one child. She was already 5. She was easy to take care of. Like, we had finally stepped out of like the hard stages of I mean, I don't think hard stages ever end with parenting, but when they're little, they can't express to you what makes them sad, what makes them happy. I was just like really scared, like really, really scared. So the doctor leaves the office, and the first thing that I do is I grab my phone and I call Andrew. And I don't even like break it to him in the nicest way, in the cutest way. I'm not over here thinking like, how can I announce it so cute? No, I was crying hysterically and I told him, I know what's wrong with me. I'm pregnant. And I just remember him being like, you're lying, you're lying. And I was crying like, I'm not lying to you, like straight up freaking out. And so um, I'm like driving home crying. I remember calling one of my best friends and telling her like, dude, I'm pregnant. Like, I can't believe it. Like the chances of you getting pregnant on the IUD are like literally a 1% chance. It was hard. It was so hard because I'm like, what do I do? Like, we were talking about divorce. We weren't going to be together anymore. I feel like my life was like finally getting figured out. Like I had got myself into a corporate job where I was really well liked, and I was like being pretty successful when it came to like my finances. Like I just felt like everything was like slowly working out. Even though we were going to get a divorce. Ugh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. But we're talking together at the house and I show him the paper, and he was just like, what are we going to do? And I'm like, well, I don't know. Like, I don't know what to do. I just remember crying and telling myself like, I've always wanted a son. And I don't know if it's just because of like my dad. I did keep the baby, and I feel like Andrew changed. Like, he just got so caught up with like this new pregnancy. We had to move, and he just kind of went back to being his normal self. Like he was happy again, and everything was like kind of back to normal. And so I was like, oh my God, like here I thought I had like, well, we had everything kind of figured out, and then we end up accidentally pregnant. We were going to get a divorce, and now we're like a family of 4 and we're happier than ever. And life went on. Our son was born in 2019, so right before COVID. And once COVID hit, I feel like a lot of people were having so many financial problems. My biggest fear was that this was going to be a huge downfall on all of us. And we both did not want to let that happen. So we were both just constantly working financially. We were good. Like, you would hear stories, I would see it on the news. Like, it just was getting worse with people's health. And I just was so happy that like we were blessed in the way of like none of that had really affected us. Like, I don't even remember getting COVID when it was like intensely like spreading. It wasn't until like 2021 that I felt like he started to get back into his like really depressive, like sad moods. And I'm like, bro, why are you sad? Like, we have two of the most beautiful, healthiest babies ever. You and I are financially at the best that we've ever been. Our families, everything is fine. Like I was just so frustrated at like asking him like what is wrong, you know? And he wouldn't talk about it. And I had got a new position, and it was taking up a lot of my time, and so I feel like I wouldn't really ask him anymore like what was wrong or anything. I was just more focused on like, well, hey, if him and I don't work out, like I need to have a plan B, and my plan B is me taking care of me and the kids. So I was like, I'm not going to let you interfere with my career anymore. So I just started really focusing and working like 10 plus hours a day and trying to build a relationship with my new boss. And luckily, him and I were amazing when it came to our work ethic together. And because I was working from home, so he would assign me, work packets or training modules, and I would complete them. And him and I would kind of follow up at the end of the day. How are you? How's life? And how's the training and everything? I just remember it was probably like December, yeah, like November, December of 2021. And I just remember telling him, like, I think we're going to have to get a divorce. Like, you and I don't go on dates. You and I don't really have that like romantic connection anymore. Like, it was almost like it died down. But like anyone in a relationship, like, if you could just please like let me know, like, have you ever hit a phase in your relationship where you're like the best of friends? When you are sad, when you're happy, when you're mad, like this is the person that you reach out to when it comes to parenting. Like, this is the person you want to be with, parent with, laugh with, see all those like monumental moments. But I just felt like our relationship, like there was nothing there, like romantically, like it was just gone. So I just told him, like, I think we need to get a divorce. Like, I can get a divorce lawyer for us. Like, I don't know, like, I don't think we should be together anymore. It's like almost like making me feel like I'm not enough. And so he had said, like, can you please just do couples therapy with me? Like, let's just at least try that. And I didn't understand why, because I'm like, I don't know. Like, I just was kind of over it already. But I said fine. And so January 2022, I remember he's like, okay, I have a therapy session scheduled for whatever day it was. And I was like, oh, okay, when are we going to start? Like, what time? And he was like, no, I have a session. And I was like, I thought we had problems. I was like, I'm lost. And so he basically was like, no, I got therapy for just me. And I was thinking like, okay, well, I don't really like know this person, so maybe this is a good thing, like maybe you need to go to therapy to figure some stuff out. I was busy with work, so I was fine. Like, I'm like, okay, I'm here for it, like whatever. So January, my sister had also started a weight loss challenge. It was like a group of us. And so I was really focused on that challenge because it was a 3-month challenge and you would win $800. So I was focused on my job, my kids, and my challenge. We were kind of distant with each other. Like, he was working a lot, I was working a lot. This was probably the day that I will never ever forget. So I'm still doing online training and working from home and communicating with my boss. And I want to say it was like around 4 o'clock. So I was pretty much almost done with my shift. I don't know, like Andrew would hear the conversations that like my boss and I would have. And him and I were just like super close. And I think it all started because of COVID. Like, he knew that I was entering the role, which was like a really, really intense role. Um, like all by myself, you know, like I didn't really have a lot of people to train me. We were just close. Like we would always talk. I ended up telling him goodbye. Andrew's kind of just like standing behind me, and I turn around and I'm like, what the heck? I didn't know you were home, you know, because I don't know. I didn't hear him come through the door. And he just has like this blank stare in his face that I was like, uh-oh, what happened? You know? And he was just like sitting on the bed, and he just said, it's so crazy how people feel so comfortable around you and talk to you, and just like how they are, like to be able to express themselves. And I was kind of looking at him like, what are you talking about? He was just like, I don't know, like the way that you are with people, like it's just so crazy. They always feel so comfortable to be themselves around you. And I was kind of hurt when he said that, because I was like, so what's wrong with me when it comes to us? Like, why don't you feel comfortable sharing things with me, you know? I feel like I gave him that face, and he was sitting on the bed because my desk and everything was in my room. And he was like, are you almost off of work? And I was like, yeah, I'm almost off. Like, I'm pretty much off. Why, is everything okay? And he's like, well, I have to share something with you. And I kind of wanted to tell you something. And I swear, like what do people say? My throat was in my stomach, or like I felt a knot in my stomach. Like, I just feel like I knew that he had to tell me something that would drastically change our entire lives. And I mean, of course, as his wife, I was like, yes, of course. Like, I don't give a, I will clock out right now. I will shut my computer off. Like, I'm already done talking to my boss. All the girls on my team were gone for the day, basically. Like, work was over. I remember just like shutting my computer off, and I'm like, let me go to the bed. And I'm like going to the bed, and I'm sitting there, and I was like, did you have therapy today? Or I don't know, like what happened? And he was like, yeah, I've been going to therapy. And I think it had been about 3 weeks. And he was like, I want to tell you something that I've been going through. And I said, okay, well, like I'm all ears. Like I told you, I'm always here to support you. And he was basically like, I'm transgender. And I was like,
it's like he's trying to speak to me. I know it.
I don't know. I feel like growing up Mexican, especially back then, like the culture isn't really accepting of like LGBTQ. If anybody that I met in my life like was part of the community or queer, whatever, like I knew that I was accepting, and I wasn't going to be this like rude person. So when Drew said transgender, I was like, please elaborate. Like, I don't know what's going on. And I just remember like he was like crying. Like, I had never seen him cry before, and now that I think about it, it was like almost like this, like I'm like trying so hard not to cry. It was like he had been free. Somebody who like finally had like come out and was holding on to that secret. That's heavy. Like, I know that I have gone through some stuff, and my life has been crazy. And I thought like he had this like semi-perfect life. I'm like, here's this person like struggling with their identity. Like, that's so hard. That's so hard. And so like I just remember being like, I don't know what you're saying, and I'm so sorry. Like, I'm here to listen. Like, I'm not mad. Like you can tell me anything. I want to support you, and I want to be here for you. And he was just basically like educating me that like when you're transgender, you're born a certain gender. I'm like trying to think of all the fucking words. But he basically said, when you're transgender, it means that you're born, like I was born male, but I've never felt like a man, and like I've always felt like I'm in my like the wrong body. I'm like, okay, so you're a like you feel like you're a girl, that's okay, like I get that, but I just remember crying because I'm like, do you even want to be with me, and he was just basically like I love you so much, and of course I want to be with you, but like, do you want to be with me? And I was just like really trying to like process everything, like I'm not gonna lie, for like a second I thought Drew, before coming out as transgender, like in our relationship, I thought Drew might have been maybe gay, but I don't know. I just feel like I was trying to understand so much all at once, and I just remember asking him like what does this mean for us? Like, okay, you're transgender, but now that you're transitioning, like does that mean you like guys, or do you want to be with me? And he was just like, no, like I love you. I'm still the same person. I like girls, but I just physically am not myself, and I just remember feeling like semi relieved because I'm like, oh my God, okay, like it was true, like he did love me and he did find me attractive. It was just something that he had been suffering with mentally and physically. So basically, I wanted to get to know a lot of information kind of as soon as possible within the conversation that we were having. And so I had to ask, what does all this mean? Like for us, for our future, for you, like obviously as your wife and your best friend and someone you co-parent with, like I just want you to know that you have 110% of my support. Like I'm here for you, but like just help me understand everything. So he basically then told me that um, pronouns are important, and that he doesn't want to go by he anymore, and he wants me to use she, they, and as for his like legal name, which we call his dead name, Andrew, he doesn't want to be called that anymore. He wants to be called Drew. And that was kind of as much as we knew. And obviously he still wanted to be with me. Like that was super important. Like he did let me know that he was talking to his therapist and they had already been discussing like having this conversation with me. And it was crazy because like his therapist like already knew that I was going to be supportive, and I don't know how, like she never met me, but she was just like, the things that you say about your wife, like I promise you, Drew, you're going to be okay. She's going to support you. And I just remember him saying like, I'm so sorry, like I'm so sorry for all of this, and like I know I've hurt you, and it's not easy for you, and I feel like I was crying a lot. I feel like my mind couldn't help but wonder all the signs were there, like that he was hurting and stuff. And I just remember like, okay, I gotta like put my feelings aside, and it's all about this person. Like I will use she, they. I understood the assignment. And yeah, like ever since January 25th, 2022, our lives have forever changed. Forever changed. I feel like I couldn't say. So I know for most of this segment, I've been talking about myself so that y'all can get to know me and a little bit of our story. But without further ado, I want to introduce to y'all Drew.
Hello. So, it's super echoey in here, and we never filmed here before, so. But hi, world. There definitely is a lot to talk about. Jackie, so grateful and thankful for all of your support through this super tough journey. It's definitely been a roller coaster of a ride, but
I love you.
it was really tough, especially towards kind of like the area when I started doing therapy. And just so everyone knows, I was planning to get the couples therapy for us. Just so that's clear, I just kind of wanted to test the waters out and kind of do therapy, see what's going on with me, dig deep, and I sure dug deep.
Girl, you done found your soul, dug deep. Just kidding.
I did find my soul, and I felt like it was something I really struggled with for a super long time. And for years, I kind of didn't know what it was. I just knew it felt like I was living in someone else's home. That's one way to describe it. And I just never felt masculine, manly, and I tried my hardest to play like the role of like a father, of a good father, of a husband, and I sucked. Yeah, I think I really sucked. Like the communication just fell flat a lot of the time. We definitely were super real with each other, and I feel like that's why we always enjoyed each other's company, and we would be vulnerable. Jackie would be super vulnerable with me, and I was always the one that was like kind of closed off.
But I feel like having kids, they took up so much of our time that we didn't really notice, right? Like it wasn't like we were like we had that time to be like, or especially me, to be that person to say, hey, like, what is wrong with you? Like, what is it? What is it? Like, it was just like life kept lifing, bills kept billing, work kept work. Like everything was just like going on that we were just so distracted.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of you know how it is, and how just something comes up, the next phase of your life.
I mean, COVID was
so
huge
quick.
too.
Yeah, COVID was no joke.
Yeah.
The vid. Horrible.
You're so annoying.
Yeah, so again, I just wanted to thank my wife, my spouse, my best friend for literally being there for me through all the downs, all the highs, and just everything, experiencing life together.
But we just wanted to thank you guys for taking the time to tune in and hear our story. And I know that there's like so many other people that are hurting and suffering with holding in this secret of being transgender, and spouses that are getting hurt every day. But we just wanted to take the time to say, like, we love you all that are hurting, and you're not alone. You're not alone, because I feel like we've felt so alone in this journey. Like, we love you, and we're gonna figure it out, and you're gonna figure it out.
Let's figure it out together. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please like, ring the bell, subscribe, and we really hope that you stick around to just hear our journey, life now, moving forward.
There's so much to tell. Like, there's so much more that I want to say, and I'm sure you being transgender, there's so much that you want to say and share. TCL?
TCL out.
Transparency, love. I can't stand that heart because I cannot do it, so I will do this.